Eleanor narrated that the night was unnaturally still, as if the world itself held its breath. Megan Carter walked along the lonely dirt road, her phone flashlight flickering against the darkness. A whisper cut through the silence, sharp and hollow, making Megan freeze. Eleanor explained that Megan gasped, clutching her chest, as a scream echoed from nowhere, slicing through her bones. Megan said, "Who's there? Stop hiding." Her voice trembled, carrying more fear than anger. The air shifted, thickening, smelling of damp earth and rotting leaves. Eleanor revealed that in the distance, trees began to appear where no forest had been before. Each second, more branches sprouted, weaving into existence under the pale moonlight. The forest was forming before Megan's eyes, alive, unnatural, and cruel. Megan's pulse quickened, and she staggered back, whispering, "This can't be real." Eleanor declared that the forest welcomed Megan, its shadows stretching like claws, inviting her inside. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter stumbled backward as the forest loomed, its branches creaking like ancient bones. Megan whispered, "This wasn't here yesterday," her breath clouding in the cold night. The ground pulsed beneath her shoes, as if alive, pulling her closer. Eleanor described how Megan raised her phone, but the battery drained instantly, the screen going black. Terror prickled Megan's skin. A crow cawed overhead, its wings echoing like a warning. Eleanor stated that the forest beckoned with shadows deeper than night itself, and Megan could not resist the pull. Eleanor explained that the forest hummed faintly, each sound vibrating through Megan Carter's chest. Megan whispered, "It feels alive." Shadows slid along the trunks, though nothing moved. Megan's hands trembled as she stepped onto the mossy ground. Cold air struck her lungs, each breath tasting of rot. Eleanor revealed that the smell of decay wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket. Leaves rustled without wind, their whispers carrying words Megan almost understood. Eleanor narrated that Megan paused, her heart thudding, realizing the forest wasn't just alive, it was waiting. Eleanor described how a sudden gust ripped through the trees, whispering Megan Carter's name. Megan gasped, clutching her hoodie. She murmured, "No one knows I'm here," her words trembling. Her phone flickered back on, showing static, then a blurred face she didn't recognize. She screamed, dropping it. Eleanor narrated that the device shattered on stone, the image gone. The forest moaned, a sound that was both wind and voice, resonating through Megan's bones. She realized the forest knew her fears, her past, her name. Eleanor narrated that the shattered phone lay in silence, but the forest spoke louder. Branches creaked overhead, spelling shapes against the moon. Megan whispered, "You're not real," but her voice wavered with doubt. The ground shifted, as if breathing, roots curling toward her feet. Eleanor explained that Megan backed away, her pulse pounding. From the shadows came the faint sound of laughter, high-pitched and broken. Megan's knees buckled, but she forced herself to stand. Eleanor revealed that the forest had appeared for Megan Carter, and she had already stepped too far inside. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter stumbled deeper into the forest, her breathing ragged, her body trembling with each step. The trees closed in tightly, their branches twisting like cages. Megan whispered, "I shouldn't be here," yet her feet refused to stop moving. The whispers grew clearer, murmuring her name again and again from unseen mouths. Eleanor explained that suddenly, Daniel Reed appeared behind her, his flashlight cutting through the mist. Daniel said, "Megan, calm down. This is just your mind playing tricks." Megan turned, relief and fear tangled in her voice as she whispered, "Daniel, you don't understand. The forest wasn't here before midnight." Eleanor revealed that his skeptical frown only deepened, dismissing her panic as shadows slithered across the trees. Eleanor narrated that Daniel Reed scanned the trees with a rational calm that grated against Megan Carter's fear. Daniel said, "There's no such thing as a forest appearing from nowhere. You're exhausted, Megan." Megan shook her head fiercely and whispered, "Then explain why the ground is breathing." Eleanor explained that Daniel knelt, pressing his hand against the damp soil, laughing uneasily. Daniel muttered, "It's just your imagination," though his hand trembled. Eleanor revealed that Megan clutched his arm and cried, "It knows my name." "Daniel." The forest whispered it. Daniel pulled away, refusing to accept her words, while the air thickened with unseen eyes watching them both. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter pointed into the distance where shifting shadows crawled across the forest floor. Megan whispered, "Look, Daniel, tell me you see that." Daniel Reed squinted, his jaw tight, muttering, "It's nothing but fog." Eleanor narrated that the shadows stretched unnaturally, forming vague outlines of twisted figures. Megan's breath hitched as she said, "They're watching us." Daniel forced a chuckle, though his eyes betrayed doubt. Daniel said, "No one is here but us." Eleanor revealed that behind him, the shadows writhed like living things, vanishing when his beam of light cut through. Megan shivered, realizing the darkness itself was playing games with them. Eleanor narrated that the forest grew colder, the silence broken by a distant moan that rippled through the trees. Megan Carter whispered, "It knows we're here," her voice cracking. Daniel Reed rolled his eyes and muttered, "It's the wind, Megan." Eleanor explained that Megan backed into him, clutching his jacket as the sound swelled louder. Daniel froze as the moan shifted into a broken laugh, echoing around them. Daniel said, "That's not wind." Eleanor revealed that Megan's eyes filled with tears as she begged, "Please, listen to me. This forest is alive." Daniel's skeptical mask faltered, his face pale as the laughter surrounded them from every direction. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter stumbled forward, desperate to escape, but the forest shifted, trees closing in like prison bars. Megan cried, "It won't let us leave." Daniel Reed grabbed her wrist, pulling her back. Daniel shouted, "Stop! Don't give in to this nonsense." Eleanor narrated that the path behind them sealed itself, branches twisting together like skeletal arms. Daniel stared, his skepticism cracking, muttering, "That's impossible." Megan screamed, "Now do you believe me?" Eleanor revealed that both stood trapped in a nightmare, with only the forest deciding if it would ever release them. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter and Daniel Reed pressed deeper into the forest, their footsteps muffled by damp moss. Megan whispered, "It's watching us." Daniel tried to dismiss her, saying, "It's nothing but trees." Yet his voice cracked with doubt. Eleanor explained that the silence broke with a guttural growl that vibrated through the soil. Both froze, their breath visible in the icy air. Megan gripped Daniel's arm, whispering, "Tell me you heard that." Daniel muttered, "An animal. It has to be." Eleanor revealed that glowing eyes appeared in the fog, too high and too many to belong to any creature they knew. Eleanor described how the growl deepened, followed by the sound of claws dragging across bark. Megan Carter whispered, "We need to run." Daniel Reed shook his head, his jaw set. Daniel said, "If we panic, it wins." Eleanor explained that the fog parted just enough to reveal a towering figure with twisted limbs and skin stretched like wet leather. Megan gasped, "That's not real," though her tears betrayed her fear. Daniel shone his flashlight directly at the figure, but the beam bent unnaturally, swallowed by shadow. Eleanor revealed that the creature stepped closer, its grin impossibly wide. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter screamed, pulling Daniel Reed back as the creature lunged, its body jerking in unnatural spasms. Daniel shouted, "Run, Megan!" His skepticism shattered in an instant. Eleanor explained that they stumbled over roots, crashing through undergrowth, while the creature's laughter echoed behind them. Megan cried, "It's following us." Daniel gasped, "I see it. I can't explain it, but it's real." Eleanor revealed that as they fled, a shadowy figure stepped into their path, raising a lantern. The light cut through the darkness, forcing the creature to retreat with a guttural hiss. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter stumbled to a halt, gasping, as Clara Price raised the lantern higher, her eyes calm but unreadable. Clara said, "The light keeps it away, but not for long." Daniel Reed shouted, "What the hell was that thing?" Eleanor narrated that Clara's voice was steady, saying, a piece of the forest, hungry for you both. Megan whispered, "How do you know about this place?" Clara smiled faintly, her face shadowed, and replied, "Because I've been here longer than you think." Eleanor revealed that the creature growled from the distance, unwilling to step closer to Clara's light. Eleanor narrated that Clara Price lowered the lantern slightly, studying Megan Carter with a knowing gaze. Clara said, "You stepped into the forest when it wanted you, Megan." Megan gasped, "It knows me." Daniel Reed muttered, "This is insane." Eleanor explained that Clara's expression grew grim as she said, "The forest feeds on fear, and it's been waiting for you." Megan's knees weakened, whispering, "Why me?" Clara replied, "Because you are tied to it." Eleanor revealed that Daniel shook his head in disbelief, saying, "No, she's just scared, that's all." Clara's eyes narrowed, as though she knew more than she was willing to say. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter clutched her chest as the forest grew darker, its branches twisting like serpents. Megan said, "It's inside my head." Daniel Reed grabbed her shoulders and shouted, "Stop feeding it." Clara Price raised her lantern, her calm voice cutting through the chaos as she said, "You cannot silence the forest. It speaks whether you listen or not." Eleanor explained that Megan's vision blurred as faces appeared in the bark of trees, whispering her name in unison. Daniel muttered, "Hallucinations, nothing more," though sweat rolled down his temple. Eleanor revealed that Megan fell to her knees, whispering, "They're alive." Eleanor explained that Megan Carter stumbled to her feet, the whispers in her ears growing louder, each voice mocking her. She cried, "They know me." Daniel Reed shook his head, his voice sharp as he said, "No, they don't. It's you doing this to yourself." Clara Price narrowed her eyes and muttered, "The forest feeds on denial as much as fear." Eleanor narrated that Daniel waved his flashlight angrily, shouting, "None of this is real." The beam flickered, swallowed by the trees. Megan whispered, "It's changing him," realizing Daniel's refusal gave the forest power. Eleanor narrated that the forest moaned, its sound resonating like a chorus of lost souls. Megan Carter stumbled back against Daniel Reed, whispering, "It wants us." Daniel snarled, "It can't want anything, it's just trees." Clara Price shook her head, murmuring, "You blind yourself while it opens its eyes wider." Eleanor revealed that Megan pointed at a tree where a face formed in the bark, its mouth opening in silent screams. Daniel's jaw tightened as he muttered, "No, I won't see it." Eleanor explained that Megan shouted, "Then it will consume you first." Eleanor explained that Daniel Reed stormed ahead, his flashlight beam slicing through fog. Daniel shouted, "We're leaving, and this nightmare dies with us." Megan Carter ran after him, sobbing, "You'll get us killed." Clara Price called out, her tone sharp, "Do not defy the forest. It twists when you resist." Eleanor narrated that Daniel ignored her, shoving branches aside until the path warped, twisting into a spiral. Megan screamed, "It's closing in." Eleanor revealed that Daniel finally stopped, his eyes wide, realizing the forest was reshaping itself around his defiance. Eleanor narrated that the forest shrieked, a sound like steel tearing. Megan Carter clutched her head, crying, "It hurts." Daniel Reed dropped to his knees, his flashlight flickering out. He muttered, "It's not real," over and over. Clara Price stood firm, raising her lantern higher, her voice sharp as she declared, "This is only the beginning." Eleanor explained that Megan's eyes blurred with tears as she whispered, "I can't escape this." Daniel looked at her, his denial collapsing into silence. Eleanor revealed that the forest swayed as if breathing, readying itself for what came next. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter staggered through the mist, her breath ragged. Clara Price walked ahead, her lantern glowing faintly. Megan asked, "Why is this happening to me?" Daniel Reed muttered, "Because you're letting fear control you." Clara stopped, her voice calm but sharp as she said, "No, Daniel, this forest doesn't choose randomly." Eleanor explained that. Clara turned to Megan, her eyes narrowing. Clara said, "It remembers your family." Megan froze, whispering, "What do you mean?" Eleanor revealed that the forest groaned, as if answering the question itself, branches cracking under invisible weight. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter's knees weakened as she whispered, "My family? They don't know this place." Clara Price shook her head, saying, "Your bloodline is older than you realize. The forest binds to it." Daniel Reed scoffed. "That's ridiculous." Clara's voice grew colder as she replied, "Your disbelief does not free her from the curse." Eleanor narrated that Megan pressed her hands to her face, whispering, "My grandmother. She warned me about dreams." Clara said, "They weren't dreams. They were memories." Eleanor revealed that the lantern flame flickered violently, shadows curling closer as though drawn to Megan's fear. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter gasped, recalling fragments of her grandmother's warnings about a forest that ate souls. Megan cried, "She said it would come for me." Daniel Reed grabbed her wrist, saying, "She was delusional, Megan." Clara Price stepped closer, her tone sharp as she said, "No, she told you truth. The curse began with her blood, and now it ends with you." Eleanor explained that Megan shook her head wildly, whispering, "I won't let it." Daniel muttered, "You don't have to believe this nonsense." Eleanor revealed that Clara stared into Megan's eyes and whispered, "The forest already does." Eleanor explained that the forest pulsed, its roots curling like veins across the ground. Megan Carter staggered back as whispers filled her ears, chanting her name. Megan screamed, "Stop it!" Daniel Reed covered his ears, shouting, "It's all in your head." Clara Price remained firm, her voice calm but heavy. Clara said, "It calls you, because you are the last to resist it." Eleanor narrated that Megan sobbed, "I don't want this." Clara replied, "What you want doesn't matter. The forest was promised your soul long before you were born." Eleanor revealed that Megan fell to the ground as branches bent toward her like reaching hands. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter trembled as Clara Price knelt beside her, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. Clara whispered, "The forest will not let go until it is fed." Megan sobbed, "Then what do I do?" Daniel Reed shouted, "Don't listen to her. This is madness." Eleanor explained that Clara's eyes narrowed as she said, "You must face the truth of who you are." Megan looked between Clara and Daniel, torn between belief and denial. Eleanor revealed that the forest roared, shaking the ground as if demanding Megan's choice. Megan whispered, "If I am tied to this place, then I will fight it." Eleanor narrated that the ground split open, roots thrashing like serpents as the forest roared. Megan Carter screamed, clutching Clara Price's arm. Clara shouted, "Do not look away, face it." Daniel Reed stumbled back, muttering, "No, it isn't real. It can't be real." Eleanor explained that a towering shadow rose from the chasm, its body shifting like smoke and bone. Megan whispered, "It's the forest," her voice trembling. Daniel fell to his knees, gasping, "No, this is madness." Eleanor revealed that the shadow leaned forward, its featureless face stretching into a grin, the sound of broken voices pouring from its mouth. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter staggered forward, her fists clenched. She shouted, "Why me?" The shadow answered with whispers that filled the air, repeating her name in endless echoes. Clara Price raised her lantern higher, saying, "Because your blood belongs here." Daniel Reed screamed, "No, take me instead." Eleanor explained that the shadow froze, its form flickering as if uncertain. Megan whispered, "It wants me, not him." Clara's voice grew sharper as she said, "Then you must fight it, Megan." Eleanor revealed that the forest trembled as the creature's tendrils stretched toward Megan, curling hungrily. Eleanor explained that the shadow lashed out, striking Daniel Reed across the chest and throwing him into the roots. Daniel screamed in agony as the forest wrapped around him. Megan Carter cried, "No!" Clara Price shouted, "Do not break, this is its trap." Eleanor narrated that Daniel gasped, "Megan, help me," his voice breaking with fear. Megan reached for him, but roots dragged him deeper into the soil. Eleanor revealed that Daniel's flashlight flickered and shattered, his last cry echoing through the forest, before silence swallowed him whole. Megan sobbed, realizing the forest had claimed him. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter collapsed to her knees, sobbing as Daniel Reed's screams faded. Clara Price pulled her up roughly, shouting, "Stand, Megan! You cannot let grief feed it." Megan whispered, "He's gone because of me." Clara's eyes hardened as she said, "He was gone the moment he denied the truth." Eleanor explained that the shadow leaned closer, its voice echoing like broken glass, hissing, "You are mine." Megan clenched her jaw, whispering, "No, I am not." Eleanor revealed that her defiance shook the ground, the forest swaying violently as if resisting her words. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter rose to her feet, facing the shadow directly. Megan shouted, "I am not yours." The forest shuddered, branches splintering under her voice. Clara Price lifted her lantern, its flames surging into a blinding blaze. The shadow reeled, its form breaking apart like smoke torn by wind. Eleanor narrated that Megan stepped forward, her fear replaced with raw defiance. The whispers turned to shrieks, countless voices howling in rage. Clara said, "You've weakened it, but it will never vanish completely." Eleanor revealed that Megan trembled, realizing victory here meant sacrifice she wasn't ready to make. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter stood trembling as the shadow writhed, breaking into fragments that dissolved into the mist. Clara Price lowered her lantern, her face pale. Megan whispered, "Is it over?" Clara shook her head slowly, replying, "The forest never dies, it waits." Eleanor explained that Megan's heart pounded as she looked at the ground where Daniel Reed had been taken, his body gone, only blood-stained roots remaining. Megan cried, "He's part of it now." Clara's voice softened but cold as she said, "They all become part of it." Eleanor revealed that Megan staggered, realizing survival was not freedom. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter clutched her arms around herself, shaking as she whispered, "I can't escape." Clara Price walked beside her, her lantern dimming. Clara said, "The forest will vanish at dawn, but it will come again." Eleanor explained that Megan's voice cracked as she asked, "Why me?" Clara replied, "Because you are its anchor, its blood, its memory." Megan fell silent, her face pale as she realized her family curse could not be undone. Eleanor revealed that the trees creaked overhead, their shadows shifting to spell her name across the ground. Eleanor explained that Megan Carter collapsed against a tree trunk, her body weak. She whispered, "If I leave, will it follow me?" Clara Price knelt beside her, answering, "The forest follows the blood. It always will." Eleanor narrated that Megan sobbed, "Then I'm never free." Clara's eyes glimmered as she said, "Freedom and survival are not the same." Eleanor revealed that Megan clenched her fists, whispering, "I will not give it what it wants." Clara responded, "Defiance has a cost." The lantern flickered, and for a moment, shadows shaped Daniel Reed's screaming face across the bark. Eleanor narrated that the first light of dawn crept through the mist, dissolving parts of the forest. Megan Carter rose slowly, her legs unsteady. Clara Price whispered, "It disappears with the sun, but it always returns at midnight." Megan whispered back, "Then I'll be ready." Eleanor explained that Clara's expression softened with sorrow as she said, "No one is ever ready." Megan looked at her defiantly, whispering, "I have to be." Eleanor revealed that as the trees faded into nothingness, only silence remained, but Megan knew the forest still breathed in her veins. Eleanor narrated that Megan Carter stepped onto the empty road, the forest gone as though it had never existed. Clara Price vanished with the last of the mist, leaving Megan alone. Megan whispered, "I survived." Eleanor explained that silence stretched until a faint whisper carried on the wind, her own voice calling her name. Megan froze, her heart hammering. She looked down and saw shadows stretching from her feet across the ground, forming twisted roots. Eleanor revealed that the forest had not ended. It had only moved inside her, waiting for midnight to return.